December 20th, 3:11 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 5, which apparently looks exactly like all the other ones, and we're outside of the lobby of the broken, destroyed courtroom. Here we go, y'all. The final trial? Question mark? I was going to say the final trial day. I don't know if this trial can go an extra day with how the whole Blackwell thing is going to go down and how he's supposed to get executed. Right? Like, we got to solve this now. Today. We can't afford to have this go more days. Sorry. Anyway, I did a little research. I looked into those special psych locks you mentioned, Mr. Nick. You did? That's great. I really appreciate it. A red psych lock protects a secret a person is consciously trying to hide. If the person folds under questioning, the lock breaks and the truth comes out. Yep, that's exactly how I got the truth out of Detective Fulbright and Director Cosmos. But a black psych lock protects a secret from the deepest place in a person's heart. A secret that the person isn't even consciously aware of. So even they don't know what's there? Athena is trying to keep anything from you on purpose. Isn't trying to keep anything from you on purpose. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories are sealed off, even from herself. Okay, so all I have to do is break the psych locks. According to my research, a black psych lock is like a heavy chain wrapped directly around one's heart. If they're ripped off by force, it could cause permanent damage to a person's soul. In other words, if I'm not careful, I could traumatize Athena for good. Ugh. Pearls, could you stay by Athena's side? She must be suffering under the weight of such a heavy burden. Alright, but will you be alright by yourself, Mr. Nick? I'm up against Edgeworth. I have to be able to give this trial all of my focus and strength. And you can't do that if I'm there. I'll just hold you back. No, that's not it. I just meant I can relax and concentrate if I knew you were with Athena. You're the only one that can do it, Pearls. Alright. I'll do it then. Good luck, Mr. Nick. Yeah, don't take it so personally. Good. Now that my mind is at ease, I'd better get ready. I'll just tidy up the evidence and take out what I don't need. More? Okay, hold on. Before you do that, let me see what disappears. Wait. It feels like some stuff already disappeared. No? Maybe? Let's see what he gets rid of. It's time to end this nightmare that started 7 years ago. Oh. He must have already gotten rid of some stuff, because it felt like there was already less. Anyway, December 20th, District Court, courtroom number 4, or whatever's left of it. Defense, prosecution, and judge. There are even people in the gallery. The roof has been completely blown off, and the walls have collapsed. But today, this ruin is my battleground. It's kind of appropriate. I like this. I like this a lot. And also, the robot! What are you... Oh... The robot is there because the robot is basically Aura's, you know, I don't know, way of communicating with us. But anyway, day 1 of the court. All rise for the honorable court, or Judge Douchebag. Court, or some facsimile thereof, is now in session for the trial of Athena Sykes. Hold it. Not a facsimile, old man. This is a proper official trial. Take this more seriously, or you'll start hearing the bones of the hostages snap. Please try not to upset Miss Blackwell. I'm begging you. Court is now in session for the very serious and very proper trial of Athena Sykes. Wow. I'm glad we could get you together there, Judge. All the other judges must have been busy, and we get this judge always. Anyway. This is no trial. It's nothing more than a ridiculous farce. What did you say? Edgeworth, did you not hear what I just said to His Honor? However, this ridiculous farce has a very important meaning for our legal system. Recall the case of the UR1 incident, in which a prosecutor was found guilty of murder. That case ushered in the odious dark age of the law. I see what you're after. If we can find the real truth behind that case today... Precisely. The darkness will be dispelled, and glory shall be restored to the court system. Prosecutor Edgeworth, you sound as if you know something of this truth. I do indeed. A new suspect has emerged in the UR1 case. For 7 years, Simon Blackwell has refused to speak in order to cover for someone else. Brace yourself, Phoenix. Here it comes. I'm sorry, right, but the situation is what it is, and I must do what I must. The prosecution moves to indict Athena Sykes on the count of murder in the first degree. Here we go. Here we go. And it's like, oh shit, hold on. I didn't expect a cutscene.
Regardless the circumstance, I intend to question the defendant with all I have. For that is a part of my creed.
Then you'd better bring it.
If the two of you are ready. Court is now in session for the trial of Athena Sykes.
Your Honor, the defense was born ready.
The prosecution is also ready.
Ah, what a classic showdown. Awesome. I love that they made a cutscene out of that. We also got to hear the judge's voice, which is nice. Oh man, if it starts to rain while this is going on, that'd make this way more epic. I kind of hope it does. Anyway, this immense tension between us, it's like we're picking right where we left off. Indeed. It's my duty to clear Prosecutor Blackwell of false accusations and end this insanity. But I have no intention of losing Ms. Sykes either. She's a very promising young lawyer. I know without a doubt that Athena is innocent. Just gotta prove it. But I don't think Prosecutor Blackwell did it either. So who done did it? So, do you have any clue who was responsible for the sabotage? At the very least, I know it wasn't Simon Blackwell. I don't know enough to identify the true culprit, but it's clear what that person is. To put it simply, a spy. Who's a spy? Who could it be? Who could it be? The true culprit is a spy. It's going to be hard to convince anyone of that when I barely believe it myself. But I don't have a choice if I want to save Athena and Blackwell and expose the spy.
Now then, Chief Prosecutor Edgeworth.
No need for the chief... Oh, sorry. Wrong person.
No need for the Chief Prosecutor bit, Your Honor. I am here as a simple prosecutor. Very well, your opening statement, please. Prosecutor Edgeworth. Although I've been known of late to give an impressive opening statement myself. In all the trials I've ever seen, only the prosecution gives an opening statement. Of course, you're right. I was just joking, just having a little fun. I really miss it.
So he wasn't doing them just out of fear. Interesting. He was actually enjoying himself.
Let's start with a brief overview of the UR1 incident.
That's what you're supposed to do, sir.
The incident occurred at the Cosmos Space Center 7 years ago on October 7th. The victim, psychologist Metis Sykes, was killed in the robotics labs on the 4th floor.
Athena's mother.
Simon Blackwell, a young prosecutor at the time, was found guilty of the crime. There were two deciding factors that led to his guilty verdict. One, Blackwell was the only person in the corridor to the lab at the time of the murder. And two, this photo, which captured the moment of the crime.
It doesn't capture the moment of the crime. That's the stupidest fucking garbage I ever heard.
Very incriminating evidence indeed. It would appear that the only conclusion is that Prosecutor Blackwell did indeed...
No. Hold it. Are you kidding me? I'm not accepting any conclusion of the kind. This opening statement is over. Now hurry up and call the witness.
Excuse me, Miss Blackwell, but we must follow proper procedure for these things, you know. Or perhaps we should heed her wishes, Your Honor. She is the trial's sponsor, after all. Besides, the courtroom is chilly, and sitting for too long can't be good for your back. Oh, you are very kind to show your concern for the welfare of the elderly.
As skilled as ever at playing the court puppeteer, I see.
The prosecution calls its first witness. A witness who decided to bring forth new testimony after 7 long years.
New testimony? Who is this witness anyway? Is it Rocket Man? No! It's Fulbright? Huh. Huh. Is it weird that I have suspicions about this guy now? Because, like, we only have so many people who are a part of this story, and they're not going to give me another new character now. Whoever's behind all this is a character we already have as part of the story. 100%. So is there a chance that this fuckface is the spy and did all of this? It's certainly possible. I just wanted him to be our new Gumshoe, but you know what? He could perfectly well be the final villain of this game. I could see it. He's just a bumbling idiot enough to be playing games, bro. I feel like it's possible. All right, I'm just gonna leave it at that, and we'll see where this goes. Cause like, even if I think about it, he was there at least in the. If I'm thinking about the most recent bombing, he was there the whole time. He was actually there, right? So we'll see. Anyway,
Bobby Fulbright's the name. In justice we trust.
What are you doing here?
I'm just here to speak for the hostage taker, Ms. Aura Blackwell. She says she's too busy, what with the confining and threatening the hostages and all.
That doesn't seem to stop her from constantly chiming in through Klonko. I'm nothing more than an observer in this. Do your best. I'm watching you.
Believing her brother innocent, Ms. Blackwell has been conducting her own investigation. And though her current actions are hardly lawful, I think we can at least hear her theory. I have here Ms. Blackwell's notes on the investigation she conducted. And I'll be giving testimony based on these notes. Here I go.
Okay, let's see. I mean, I know what I just said about maybe being sus on him, but he's giving her theory. Like, he's talking for her. So, I mean, I could be way off of base even having that thought, but I'm just like, who else could it be? The only people we have involved in this story, if Blackwell didn't do it, Athena didn't do it, and Aura seems like the two obvious suspect, but with the way she's acting with this whole thing, it feels like she didn't actually do this. Who else is left, right? But other people who are dead. And the old man, but I can't imagine the old guy did it at this point either. Especially with the fact that he was all hush-hush and about the cover-up and stuff. So there's only one person left in this story. And it's this fucking guy. That'd be crazy. I'm kind of banking on being right about this now. But we'll have to wait and see.
Simon isn't the murderer. He was trying to cover for someone. Someone else was at the scene at the time. They say Simon committed the murder. I mean, if he really was out to steal that moon rock, then why the rolling case? Because he was using it to hide someone inside, that's why. And the only person small enough to fit inside that case was Athena Sykes.
Huh.
And that's Ms. Blackwell's theory. It totally goes in the face of the official ruling, huh? About the case she mentions, there were other rolling cases like that one in the lab. But they're not for traveling. They're apparently for moving parts and equipment.
I vaguely remember seeing 3 cases, all different sizes.
At the last trial, they thought that Prosecutor Blackwell used the case to steal the rock. And they had a perfectly good reason to think that, too. You see, there's a security camera in the corridor that leads to the robotic labs. And that camera footage of Blackwell leaving the scene with the case.
I can see why that footage helped to bring his trial to a quick end. It's very convincing, that's for sure. So we actually got to see some of the video. Before we didn't get to see any of it. They just told us what was on it. Anyway, Blackwell was the only one to pass through at the time, okay, of the crime.
That case, by the way, was later discovered outside on the Space Center grounds.
Speaking of after the incident, where was the defendant Athena Sykes found?
She was found on the 5th floor of the Space Center in the Sykes family residence. Prosecutor Blackwell most likely brought her there after the incident. In addition, it's unknown where Ms. Sykes was at the estimated time of death. Ms. Sykes was too confused by the shock of her mother's death to give proper testimony. And there was no witness or evidence to tell us where she might have been.
So what you're saying is Miss Sykes didn't have an alibi?
That is what the evidence is saying, yes. I understand the reasoning behind the theory, but I'm far from convinced. The victim is the accused mother. Are you actually claiming an 11-year-old girl?
Of course. Why do I keep trying to do that voice?
Of course, the girl had a very strong motive. Dr. Sykes was a psychologist who wrote many papers about speech and emotions. You're aware of Athena Sykes' special ability, aren't you, Your Honor? Are you referring to that therapy thing? Yes, she's done it quite a few times in court. The ability to read emotions from speech and the subject of her mother's research. Well, as long as it benefits society, I don't see any particular problem researching it.
I don't like where this is heading. Not one bit.
Dr. Sykes was so intent on her research, she forced her daughter to undergo experiments. Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you seriously suggesting? I've done my best to be delicate, but even you can't deny it to be true, Mr. Wright. No longer able to withstand the anguish of the experiments, Ms. Sykes felt her only choice was to kill her own mother.
Ah! I love the classic, like, little zoomies they did behind his head when he slammed down his hand, too. Classic.
Order! Order in the court! What a tragic story! I hardly want to believe it myself. But we must proceed. Mr. Wright, if you could. Detective Fulbright, please refer to the notes.
Alright, so we're going to press on all this shit. Here we go.
Cross-examination.
R.O. Blackwell's theory. Let's start poking holes in R.O. Blackwell's theory. He was trying to cover for someone. This part is pretty much true right here. So Prosecutor Blackwell willingly accepted a death sentence to protect someone else?
Yes, that is precisely what Ms. Blackwell appears to believe. And that is what I believe as well. Prosecutor Blackwell is no murderer, Mr. Wright.
But Athena Sykes certainly didn't kill anyone either, Mr. Edgeworth.
So it appears neither of us can afford to go easy on the other. Fine. I expected no less. Ooh, I remember this tense atmosphere. It's so invigorating. I'm only reading notes here, but yeah, I feel extra invigorated too. So let's keep going.
Okay, dude.
Someone else was at the scene at the time. They say Simon committed the murder.
Okay, press it. But that's just speculation. Uh-oh, he's here.
No, Ms. Blackwell has proper grounds for her claims.
Nuh-uh. Then why didn't you say so in the first place?
You're the one who screamed, "Hold it," and cut me off.
Fine. So maybe I jumped the gun by a teeny-weeny bit.
Ha 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 ha! Now I know what they mean when they say close enough to argue. Moving on. I mean, if he was really out to steal that moon rock, then why the rolling case?
Keep holding it. This rolling case. I suppose you mean the one that existed in the photo with Prosecutor Blackwell in it? But was absent when the crime scene photos were taken. Okay, so like, I think that's the biggest one, right? It was missing.
Yes, that's the one, and Ms. Blackwell has drawn a conclusion from these two photos. She has? And what is that conclusion? You're the one with her notes, you fucking fool. Oh, right, of course, reading them now. So why the rolling case?
I know, I missed all their objections too. It's kind of nostalgic. It's kind of awesome, actually. It has been 10 years since I played Justice for All on the channel, so it's been a while, man. And how do you propose he hit a person inside one of those cases?
Have you forgotten that we just saw such a thing only the other day? At your own daughter's magic show, she fit a grown person into a small box.
Oh yeah, way to ruin the memory of a good day.
A magic show? I wish you would have thought to invite me. Actually, I would have liked to go too. Oh God.
My apologies. I'll invite you both next time, I promise. So, wait a minute. What were we talking about again?
Prosecutor Blackwell was using the case to hide someone.
Yes, he was. Okay. And the only person small enough to fit inside that case was Athena.
Hold it!
But that's nothing more than conjecture, and it's hardly the only possibility.
In that case, what do you think Prosecutor Blackwell had in that case?
I think it was the moon rock.
Objection!
There were 3 cases at the scene, but Prosecutor Blackwell used the largest one. The moon rock was egg-shaped and only about 8 inches in diameter. It wouldn't have made any sense to use the largest case there just to move that rock.
Objection!
Be that as it may, it doesn't prove Miss Sykes was inside.
Then let me ask you this. Can you come up with a better theory of what was in that case? Well, Mr. Wright, can you?
Yikes. Give a guy some time to think, huh? Let's see. Should I try to bluff my way through what could have been in that case? I mean, yeah. I honestly don't even know what could have been in there off the top of my head. A robot, maybe? I'm not sure what else would have been in there. But let's go ahead and just say bluff. I know exactly what Prosecutor Blackwell carried from the scene. I just have to find something else that was missing, right? No sweat.
Oh, I'd be very interested in hearing your theory, but if it's true, that is.
This is the crime scene photo taken after the Prosecutor Blackwell left, right? Correct? All we have to do is compare this with this photo of the Prosecutor Blackwell to see what's missing. I mean, that arm right there is missing, right? The robot arm? The one that has the bandage on it? If he took something with him, then it should be in one of these photos. Lady Luck, don't fail me now.
All right then, Mr. Wright, let us hear your theory. What did Prosecutor Blackwell take from the scene of the murder?
Alright, before I click it, though, let me take a look at the other photo. So, yeah, the robotic arm is gone. Oh, the coat is gone, too. I didn't even realize the coat was even on the floor. That's something I didn't even notice yet, that the coat was on the floor. Let me actually look at this picture, because I have not looked at this picture. There's the bloody sword. The bloody arm thing is gone. Her coat's on the ground. There's a handkerchief-looking thing on the ground. Anything else that stands out? Not really. And then they have the other photo. Wait, here's what it says. The victim body was found on the operating table. Katana, victim's jacket, and the cart were found nearby. A cart. Okay. So when we look at it, yeah. And this is the other half of the scene. There's this toolkit on the ground, which is questionable, obviously. The canister is still over there on the right. And, of course, there's a missing box. The moon rock was stolen. The Hope capsule can be seen on the workbench. There are rolling cases for moving a robot charging station toolkit. There is a hanging scroll and a Japanese theater mask on the wall. There is. Okay, well. I think it's safe to say that the robotic arm is what we're missing. So we'll go with that.
Take that!
Please notice that there is a robot part on top of the cart in this photo. However, in this photo taken after the crime, the robot part is gone. In other words, this part is something that was taken from the scene of the crime, motherfucker!
You do appear to be right. I don't see it in the second picture. But it's just a piece of junk. How important could it be?
Is it really just an insignificant robot part? Speaking of which... What are you looking at? I'm gonna start charging for each glance per eyeball. Stingy, stingy. What happened to the age of free previews? Your Honor, about this robot part. Doesn't it look like it could be an arm from that robot there?
Well, now that you mention it, it does, doesn't it? But the case is still too big to be practical for just the moon rock and the robot arm. And a robot arm.
But was it really just the one arm that was in there? If it wasn't Athena in the case, then maybe... I believe there was another robot at the scene that looks like just like the one here. Your Honor, it is the defense's assertion that it was this other robot that was in the case.
What?
I mean, obviously. Makes sense to me.
We can't be certain that part belonged to a robot. Yes, it looks like the arm of the one before us, but it could be something else entirely. Besides, it's wrapped entirely in bandaging, making it difficult to verify what it is.
Objection!
I already got proof for this too, bitch. I know for a fact that this is a robot arm. I can even tell which robot it belonged to, just by looking at it. With this information, we can investigate whether it was there at the time or not.
But Mr. Wright, I thought you were more of a technological illiterate type. When did you become such an expert? I feel somehow abandoned.
Not to worry, Your Honor. I still know next to nothing about machines. But I know this piece of evidence proves which robot the arm belonged to. It's the photo, biatch. This one.
Take that!
Get fucked. The robot in this picture is named Ponko. But take a look at Ponko's arm. It was Ms. Sykes who bandaged it up like that.
She must have thought that machines heal in the same way that people do. What an adorable, naive mistake. It reminds me of my own grandchild.
Jesus, sorry. The robot arm in the crime scene had the same bandaging wrapped around it. In other words, this robot arm could belong to none other than Ponko. Got him. Got him. Too easy.
Order in the court. Order, I say. Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you have to say to this? I can see that the robot is about the same size as the child, but it cannot grab its knees and curl itself up into a ball. Even if it was the largest of the cases, the robot couldn't have possibly fit in there. The case does come up to about mid-thigh on Prosecutor Blackwell. I see your point. The robot is much taller than that.
They got me there. So then did Prosecutor Blackwell make Ponko fit into the case? Did Prosecutor Blackwell make Ponko fit into the case by dismantling her? Duh. Of course Ponko would fit. All Prosecutor Blackwell had to do was dismantle her. Once taken apart, the robot could have easily fit inside that rolling case.
It appears to be a robot assembly device.
Disassembly anything in a flash. Push the dismantle button. That sounds pretty neat. Can I push it, Mr. Nick?
It sounds rather violent, but Mr. Wright does have a point there.
Objection!
Dun, 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 dun.
Except that there was a body on the table where robots are dismantled and assembled. There would have been no room to take the robot apart.
Objection!
But what if it wasn't done on the table? What if the katana was used instead?
You mean the sword?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Blackwell, I'd like your opinion on as a woman of science. Isn't it true that the katana could have been used to take the robot apart? I suppose so. Their joints aren't made of very tough material. A blade could slice through them. Thank you for your expert opinion, Ms. Blackwell. Thanks to you, we now know that the existence of the severed arm in this photo proves that Ponko was taken apart. In addition, since the rest of Ponko was not found at the scene, we can conclude that the true meaning of this photo is very different from the original interpretation.
You can't mean...
Yes, sir. That's exactly what I mean. This photo does not capture the moment of the murder. It is instead a picture of the moment after the robot was sliced apart. Okay, so if the sword was the murder weapon, because the autopsy says she was stabbed by the sword, right? And I was thinking about the robot arm having blood on it. Why is that the case? If they're saying he chopped the robot apart with the sword, the blood on there would prove that at least. So that does make sense. The blood you see where the arm was cut off was transferred there by a bloody katana. Okay, fair enough. Most likely the rest of Ponko's scattered around Prosecutor Blackwell's feet. Not hearing this. Therefore, what was transported inside that case was not the defendant, but a robot. Miss Sykes never was at the scene at the time of the murder. My head, my body, where am I? Got the robot. Get fucked, robot.
Order! Order in the court!
It's true that Ponko was found in pieces after the murder. And I'll admit, I repaired her myself afterwards. Wow, so she actually found the robot in pieces later. Fair enough. Yes, I'm finally making some progress. Hopefully I've gotten at least one step closer to proving both Athena and Prosecutor Blackwell innocent.
Objection!
Uh-oh, here we go. Good old Edgeworth,
Well played, Mr. Wright. You've made your point abundantly clear. I concede that it wasn't the defendant inside the rolling case, but the robot.
Alright. What's going on here? It's never good when he plays things this straight.
Does the prosecution withdraw its claim that the defendant was carried from the scene? No, Your Honor. My claim hasn't changed.
Objection!
But Ponko and Miss Sykes couldn't have both been inside that case.
The notion that the case was used to carry Miss Sykes was Miss Blackwell's theory. I have been of a different opinion from the outset. Now I finally have the opportunity to voice my theory.
Oh, here we go. You didn't say the magic word.
Thanks to the defense.
Oh, God. Edgeworth. He's been one step ahead of me this whole time. He always has been, bro. He always has been.
In that case, how do you propose the defendant left the crime scene? Simple. The footage only shows Prosecutor Blackwell from behind. What's more, he's holding his arm in front of his body, as if he were holding something or someone.
Really? You're gonna imply that he's holding Athena in front of him where you can't see? No fucking way. That's hardly evidence.
I have proof. The surcoat Prosecutor Blackwell was wearing. The victim's blood was found on the front of it, and the stain had a highly distinctive shape. A blood stain with a distinctive shape? Please continue, Prosecutor Edgeworth. 7 years ago, the defendant was known to constantly wear a certain item.
Oh.
Of which there is only one in the world, a special pair of headphones made just for her.
Okay.
She always wore these big, heavy-looking headphones. She said her mother made them for her as part of her research.
Analysis showed the bloodstain to be in the exact same shape as these headphones. In other words, this was no mere blood splatter. The blood went from the victim's body to the headphones and then was imprinted on Prosecutor Blackwell's coat like a stamp. A most gruesome stamp indeed. Blackwell carried Miss Sykes, who had been hit by splatter, away from the crime scene. This proves that Athena Sykes was, without question, present at the crime scene. And that concludes the prosecution's argument.
Good old bow. No! And the good old reaction from Phoenix, as usual.
Order. If the defendant was indeed at the scene, it deepens the suspicion against her.
Objection!
But we've also shown that the robot was there at the scene as well.
Objection!
I hope you're not making the ridiculous claim that a simple robot was the real murderer.
I don't really think that, no, but you can't say the possibility isn't there. Detective Fulbright, was the robot questioned at the time?
No, I don't see any record of it. I believe it was considered unrelated to the case.
But, as it turned out, the robot was actually integrally related. Your Honor, the defense would like to call Ponko to the stand.
Huh?
It was only a matter of time, bro. Once the robots became a thing, you knew one of them was going to end up on the goddamn witness stand. You knew it was coming.
A robot witness?
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
Order. Order in the court. Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you think about this?
Yeah, no, it's like we've had a parrot up there. We've had a radio up there. Why not a fucking robot? Why not?
Mr. Wright has called all manner of witnesses to the stand over the years. So why not a robot? Nothing surprises me anymore with him. Very well, I will allow the witness. Bailiff, please summon the robot named Ponko.
God. All right, here we are again. Sorry, just trying to clear my throat.
Witness, please state your name and occupation.
My name is not Witness. My name is Ponko.
Yes, I realize that, but when you are at the witness stand, you are the witness.
No, I'm not. I'm Ponko. Say it with me. P-O-N-C-O, Ponko, bitch.
What an utterly inflexible little robot.
I wasn't sure we were going to get to see Edgeworth's actual, like, angry face today, but there it is. You're the last person who should be calling anybody inflexible.
Ha ha! You remind me of my grandchild who just learned his own name. Oh, how precious. All right, Ponko, I'm going to ask you some questions.
Questions? You have questions? Hooray! What are your questions?
I want to know if you were there at the scene of the murder of Metis Sykes. It was 7 years ago on the 7th of October around 2 p.m. in the robotics lab.
Certainly. Just one moment. Searching data. Search complete. Yes, I was there in the robotics lab.
Well, there you go. There you have it. Can't argue that. Open and shut case.
It would seem this robot's testimony is necessary to this case after all.
This is great. I just knew Ponko must have seen something important. He's going to see something that makes it even worse for us, probably. That's how it always goes. It gets worse before it gets better, right?
A murder committed right before this poor little girl's eyes. It's inexcusable.
The judge seems ready to adopt Ponko as another grandchild.
So, little Ponko, do you think you can give us your testimony today?
I guess we'll see. Witness testimony! Sure, here we go. What I saw. I went to the robotics lab at about 2 p.m. for my regular recharge. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Metis. And then Mommy Metis fell down. After that, I was recharging, so I don't know anything. After I charged up, I was cleaning the room, and Mr. Simon came in. And then an error occurred. There is no data after that point. Somebody hacked yo shit, huh? Yes, a robot should be incapable of lying. Agreed on that, X-Gamer. Agreed on that. Unless somebody fucks with their circuits.
Well, it sounds like the defendant was without question at the scene. However, it doesn't appear that the witness saw the actual moment of the murder. I disagree. This testimony shows that the defendant did indeed commit the crime.
What?
At the end of the day, we mustn't forget that this witness is still a machine. Being a robot, its understanding and capacity to express itself are limited. So, what are you suggesting? The witness's statements need to be interpreted. For example, the terms hugged and then later fell down. Adults don't usually fall down after being hugged by a child. They don't? But, yes. What this witness's statements are telling us is that the defendant stabbed the victim with the murder weapon during this moment.
What? Yeah, see, I knew it would get worse before it gets better. And thank you for the good luck, X-Gamer. You have a good day at work. I'll be here, I guess, getting to the bottom of this.
Before Miss Sykes hugged Dr. Sykes, did the two of them converse?
Yes, they did. They spoke to each other very loudly, but I don't know what they said. Athena is usually so quiet, so I was surprised.
Spoke very loudly. We can interpret this to mean they argued. I see. Murder after a heated argument. And then the victim fell down. I agree that it does sound like a reasonable interpretation. However, Ponko doesn't seem to remember anything that happened after that.
When I am recharging, I go into sleep mode. But I remember everything before that. I have a very good memory.
You may as well admit defeat now, right? A cross-examination would be useless.
Don't be ridiculous. A cross-examination is never useless.
Until now, think about it. Robots don't lie. This robot is both an important witness and a valuable evidence at the same time.
Nevertheless, I will have my cross-examination, bitch.
I see you haven't changed. You never were one to worry about wasting time.
You always love to waste everybody's time, is what he's trying to say.
Very well. If it may be a waste of time, you may proceed, Mr. Wright.
I'll show you both just how fruitful any cross-examination can be, bitch. Yes, we must find the truth within the truth. Because even though what the robot said is true, we have to interpret it, like Miles Edgeworth said.
I went to the robotics lab about 2 p.m. for my regular recharge. I'm just going to press everything, as usual.
Your regular recharge? What is that exactly?
I have to refill my battery's power or else I stop working. I go to the lab to do that.
So that recharge occurred around 2 p.m., around the time of the murder?
That's right. I go every day at 2 p.m.
Easy enough.
Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Metis.
Press it. Hugged her, huh? Which Edgeworth took to mean stabbed her with a weapon. You said the two of them were talking before Ms. Sykes hugged her mother, is that right?
Yes, they were talking very loudly, but I couldn't tell what they were saying.
Couldn't tell. Even though they were speaking so loudly?
I'm only allowed to listen to voices that are directed at me.
If it listened to every voice, it would be little better than a mobile eavesdropper.
Well, that explains why some of Ponko's testimony is so vague.
It's a shame that our little friend wasn't listening in, however. We could have learned what they were talking about just before Dr. Sykes was killed. Now then, what happened after that?
And then Mommy Metis fell down. After that, I was recharging, so I don't know anything.
I'm wondering if some of this, like, basically what I'm gonna guess that the robot has wrong here is that he identified the people wrong because of however his recognition works, whether it be their face or the outfit they're wearing, right? It's gonna turn out that he didn't have the people identified correctly. So either I'm gonna go with Athena wasn't arguing with Metis. Athena was arguing with somebody else. That's what I'm guessing. Because if there's most likely he has Athena correct. Because unless Athena was wearing somebody else's jacket, which would have been weird. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it could be that somebody came in, posed as Athena somehow. However, this guy identifies Athena. That would be a question, right? Maybe he identifies her by the earring. Nah, I don't know. We'll find out. But I have a feeling I'm on the right track. That the robot identified one of the people wrong, at least. Which one? I'm not sure yet. Depends on how everything else went down. But anyway, let's press on it. Sorry, I'm busy babbling. I don't want to delve too deeply here, but could you tell us how the victim appeared and acted at this moment?
Mommy Metis was very surprised when she was hugged. I heard her heart pound.
Her heart? Oh. Which means she was not dead yet, because she was killed instantly, according to the autopsy. Anyway.
Mr. Wright, have you forgotten about this document we found in the robotics lab? These robots have a heartbeat detection system.
Now that he mentions it, I do remember reading something like that there. They detect the presence of people by the sound of their heartbeats. But wait a minute. That means if Dr. Sykes really did die at this moment... Ponko, how was Dr. Sykes after she fell down? Could you still hear the sound of her heartbeat?
Let's see. The moment she fell, her heart was pounding. After that, I don't know. I started recharging just then.
Of all the unlucky timing, if you had heard anything after that, it could have possibly proved that the hug wasn't actually the moment of the murder.
I'm very sorry. I'm afraid I don't know. I'm very sorry.
The robot is designed to go into sleep mode automatically, so it can't be helped. But it does appear it detected an increased heart rate at the moment of the stabbing.
Ugh.
After Mommy Metis' heart started pounding in surprise, she fell by the window. It was the round window on the workbench side of the room.
The workbench, huh? Ponko must be talking about that table to the right of where that giant robot is now. Uh-huh. Is there something critical in Ponko's statement just now? Let me look at something real quick. Let me look at the picture. This picture. Also, the windows are different, right? The windows used to have that on them, but now the windows don't even have that on there anymore. That's interesting. I don't think I noticed that before.
So the body's over here. Wait. The body's over here. So the body wasn't found. She was not killed right here. Period. That's the discrepancy. Yes. There you go. Your Honor, I believe this statement is critical. I'd like to add it to her testimony.
Very well. Ponko, could you please add the statement to your testimony? That's a good little girl.
Mommy Metis fell down near the round window on the workbench side of the room. Pressing it. Let's see. There are 2 round windows in the robotics lab. Which one did you mean? The one on the right, near the hanging scroll. That hanging scroll was Mommy Metis' prized possession. Okay, in the pictures of the crime scene from 7 years ago, there's definitely a hanging scroll and a Japanese theater mask hanging on the workbench side wall. Yep. But is there some problem with this statement? There is. Her dead body's on the other side of the room, bro. After I charged up, I was cleaning the room, and Mr. Simon came in. I'm just going to finish... Should I just finish pressing everything, even though I already found the discrepancy? I kind of want to keep pressing everything. Prosecutor Blackwell. I wonder what he went there for. His objective? I don't know. I guess I can't very well ask Ponko to speculate. So what happened after Prosecutor Blackwell arrived? And then an error occurred. There is no data after that point. You don't remember what happened next? An error, huh? I wonder if... all data is suddenly cut off at that point. I don't know anything after that.
The answer to that question is right here. According to the defense's theory, this photo shows when the robot was being taken apart.
Exactly. We can conclude that Ponko's error was the result of her being dismantled.
Indeed. The bodies of these robots are designated to be controlled remotely by a separate computer.
Yes, that's basically what Miss Blackwell explained to us, too. She said their hearts and memories are stored on a separate computer.
When the witness was taken apart, she lost the use of her body, but not her memories. That's how she's now still able to give testimony about the events of that day. Fascinating. It's as if she can seriously be wounded, but her skull still burns.
There are a few parts of Ponko's testimony that are hard to interpret. Edgeworth chose to interpret hugged as stabbed. But I'd better try to iron out who did what, where, and to whom for myself. Hold on, Athena. I'm coming to save you. Alright, I know what to do. We know what to do. The new piece of testimony right here. Boom. We're going to present the body picture, because no, the body was found in the seat, not by the window.
Objection!
Easy peasy. Ponko, your statement may have just inspired a breakthrough. I was helpful. Hooray! I'm so happy. Just to be sure, let's go over it again, okay? The victim fell near the window on the workbench side of the room. However... her body was discovered on the operating table.
But the operating table on the workbench are on 2 different locations.
Yeah, no fucking shit, bro. Exactly, Your Honor. We've just learned a new crucial fact. What could explain the 2 very different locations of the body? I'll tell you what. The defendant moved the body. Or the victim moved. I'm going to go with the victim moved. An 11-year-old girl couldn't have moved the heavy body of an adult. So the only explanation is that the victim walked to the operating table herself. In other words, what Ponko observed near the workbench couldn't possibly have been the moment of the murder. And this is probably we're going to have to throw the autopsy to say that she died instantly, right?
Whew! I am very relieved to hear that. Glad to know that the murder wasn't committed in front of a little Ponko here.
Yes, as we just heard in the testimony, Ms. Sykes hugged her mother, nothing more.
Objection!
Right. It's been 8 years, but you're still just as green as ever. Green? But I can't recall ever seeing Mr. Wright in anything but a blue suit. Oh my god.
Hey, blue's my favorite color, man. What can I say?
If the defendant couldn't move the body herself, she could have it moved for her.
Moved for her? But Ms. Sykes and Dr. Sykes were the only ones there.
I agree. Since this robot is equipped with a heartbeat detection system, it would have been aware of another person's presence if someone else had been there. We can therefore conclude that the defendant and the victim were the only ones present. Then who do you suggest move the body? Don't you know it's in the nature of a robot to help people do things? Ms. Panko, allow me to ask you a question.
My name is Ponko. Say it with me. Ponko.
I believe you said you were cleaning after Dr. Sykes fell down. Did you happen to move something large on the operating table?
Ah. She did say she cleaned up the room a little bit. She did say that. Yes. Yes, I did. Athena asked me to. Oh, my God. All right, so we're still going to have to operate on this theory that the person who they say is Athena is not Athena. Athena asked you to?
And what did you move, little Ponko?
I don't know. Unless something has an ID tag, I can't tell what it is. Huh. Okay.
An ID tag, you say?
Yes, a tag with a barcode on it. We robots scan them to tell us what a thing is. That paper in the lab did mention something about that. Recognizes people by scanning their spacesuit or uniform jacket ID tag, it said.
So it would appear that Ms. Panko here can't identify what it moved, Ms. Panko.
My name is Ponko!
But we humans have the power to imagine what it was, do we not? We do? Well, I do, at the very least. Ms. Panko, on the defendant's command, moved the body to the operating table.
Gah! Alright. Again, we're still gonna have to, this identifying who is who thing is gonna be our real saving grace here. Ponko, did you really move Dr. Sykes' body? This is really important. Isn't there any way you could tell? I don't know. Without an ID tag, I can't tell.
Give it up, right? If the victim's heart was stopped, the robot's detection system would be useless. Furthermore, Dr. Sykes usually wore her white coat while she was working. She kept the jacket with her ID tag on it, draped over a chair in the robotics lab, and only wore it for special occasions. In other words, the victim wasn't wearing her ID tag at the time. From the robot's point of view, her body was simply just another object.
Objection!
But Ponko's equipped with a facial recognition system. If she really did move the victim, she would have recognized the body as Dr. Sykes. But she didn't, so that means...
Objection!
Oh my god. A face can easily be covered with a piece of cloth, a mask, or anything else for that matter. With her facial features hidden, the robot wouldn't be able to tell it was Dr. Sykes.
Yeah, he's right.
To summarize, Ms. Sykes stabbed her mother near the workbench. Then, using the robot, she moved the body to the table, where she removed the sword and was stained in blood. Order. But if that's the case, then I have a question. Why did the defendant move the body to the operating table in the first place? You want a reason? Very well.
What? You can't possibly have an explanation for that.
Your emotions blind you to the truth. You could learn a lot from our robot friends. Calm and rational thought will open your eyes to the truth in front of you, Mr. Wright. Now then, do you remember the operating table's one special feature? I believe I read that robots can be assembled and disassembled there. Isn't that right? That's right. And to the defendant, who was just a child at the time, the table was like a magic box that could make robots appear or disappear in seconds.
But in the end, my mom just put her on the operating table and fixed her in a flash. I was so impressed by what my mom did. I even asked her if she would put me on the table and fix me if I ever got hurt. It looked just like magic to me, but what she could do. You can't possibly be suggesting.
This young sheltered girl had a difficult time distinguishing robots from people.
But take a look at Ponko's arm. It was Ms. Sykes who bandaged it up like that.
She must have thought that machines heal in the same way people do. What an adorable, naive mistake. It reminds me of my own grandchild.
Oh, wow. No way. I refuse to believe it.
Ms. Sykes made a childish, naive, and cruel mistake. She thought that if a robot could be dismantled and vanish without a trace... Prosecutor Edgeworth, if you're about to claim what I think you are, I demand that you word it as delicately as you can. With all due respect, Your Honor, all I can do is present the truth as it stands. The reason the defendant moved the victim's body to the operating table...
Hold it!
Was to disassemble it? The fuck? No! Don't say another word! Just stop!
...was to dismantle the evidence so that she could get away with her crime.
That can't be!
True!
Huh. Huh.
Order. Order in the court. Order in the court, I say.
Alright. I'm having another theory in my head now. Maybe Athena found her mom already stabbed and dead. Like she was already stabbed and dead. And Athena was trying to fix her because she knew the machine could fix you, right? Maybe that's what she was trying to do. I could absolutely see that. It's fucked up, but I could see that. That actually makes a lot of sense. It's the opposite of what Edgeworth is saying right now. But she was absolutely trying to fix her mom. 100%. So this interaction was true. Just the way it is described by the robot is too vague. But I bet she was already dead. Ms. Sykes. Dr. Sykes, whatever. Interesting.
Order in the court, I say.
Edgeworth. She was just a little kid. How can you say such a horrible thing?
Horrible? Like I said, you're just as green as ever. I came here today as a prosecutor to seek only the truth. No more, no less. My theory is simply the result of a rational consideration of every possibility.
Objection!
Bitch, please. But dismantling isn't the table's only function. It can make repairs as well. It's conceivable that Miss Sykes moved her mother to the table in order to fix her. Exactly. I'm glad he already went there.
I suppose that could be another way of interpreting it. But dismantle or repair, it doesn't matter. Either way.
What do you mean?
After murdering her mother, Miss Sykes may have come to her senses. Perhaps she did not... She did want to make it appear as if it had never happened. And that's why she tried to repair her mother. Yes, that's one possible explanation.
But
we mustn't forget the facts in this case. The victim was observed to fall down after being hugged by the defendant. And the body was moved per the defendant's command. These two facts that indicate the defendant's guilt, remain unchanged.
This just can't be true.
Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence to refute the prosecution's claim?
Evidence? Right. Let's see. I can't think of any. I'm afraid I don't have any evidence.
Since becoming chief prosecutor, I've learned that the truth isn't always pretty. Now, accept the truth, Mr. Wright. Your subordinate murdered her own mother. Your Honor, the prosecution demands a verdict. The hostages have suffered enough. What a terrible and tragic conclusion. If the defense has no counter-argument, I see no need to further prolong this trial.
Alright, where's Apollo at? I'm expecting Apollo to show up, like, maybe right now. That'd be nice. Edgeworth's argument seems solid enough, but there's no way Athena could have ever done anything like that. What do I do? There has to be something. But I can't think of a single thing. Here he comes. Did I call it or what? Oh, shit. I did not call it. Never mind. Blackwell's here.